Is everybody ready?
Look at the baby. I miss my Oreo. I'm ready.
Where's Steph?
Oh yeah, are we doing this without Stephanie? Because I'm down.
I'm ready.
Can you sit on mic? Let's go, Steph.
Got dropped.
It's your favorite Primas. We're here.
Favorite Primas.
It's your favorite Prima.
What am I supposed to say? We need the flutes, Alex. We need the flutes over here. Yeah, one hand goes here, one hand goes here.
Okay, that's good. Good? Yeah.
Hot cross buns. Ba, ba, ba.
The one in front of your face is like
Guys, welcome back.
Hi, we're here.
Thank you to everyone who's been listening so far. Thank you. We have a video that came out as well. One Direction. It's supposed to be conspiracy tapes. Today we'll get into family and friendship breakups.
Dang.
We definitely gonna need the alcohol. Everyone pass me your flute.
I'm ready. It's gonna be a rough one.
Oh.
I shouldn't have worn mascara.
Oh. You like bubbles? Because that's what we got.
Yes.
And you're supposed to put orange juice in here?
A drop.
Oh, it went down. I get you. This is my first mimosa ever.
Really?
I don't even know. It should be pouring. Okay, there's something.
Pour it up, pour it up.
Wash it up all now.
Can I have a little more? Well, I guess I could have poured it.
Ma'am?
Bartender.
Over here, ma'am.
You're so
Wait.
fancy.
All right. Well, cheers.
Cheers.
To
Cheers to-
breakups of all kinds.
The worst heartbreaks ever.
That's some high quality champagne. It's a brute.
Brute. It's Andre.
Alrighty, so we are missing one of our primas today. Valerie. Sorry. So sad.
We miss you, Val.
Come back.
Who do I look at?
Yourself. But don't worry, there'll be a part 2 about relationship breakups that she will be a part of. So let's go ahead and get into it.
I'm ready.
So we are going to start with Alyssa. Gonna share her story about a family breakup.
Yeah, so this one's pretty fresh. I think I've mentioned it to you guys, but maybe not told you guys the updated story of what happened, right? But so since I was little, I've had a cousin that is 4 to 5 years younger than me. And since she was born, like I took her under my wing. She was always with me all the time. We were so close. Like she knew everything about me first and vice versa. Like every first that happened to us, everything that happened in our lives, all the big milestones, we were the first ones each other told. And I just, like, I had this, she was my baby cousin, right? So I had this idea of, I wanted to take her with me to everything I did. I wanted her to experience the things I did. So I would take her to ACL, to Coachella. We went to Cancun. Like, she was my person, you know? She was, like, I always said if I ever passed, like, my journals, because I journal a lot, that I told her she would have them. Like, she was the only person I was comfortable having them. So just to give you, like, an idea of our relationship, like, she was my person. And there were definitely fights over the time of our cousinship, I guess.
Yeah.
Our
Well, you guys
relationship.
are best friends, so
Yeah.
your friendship,
If
yeah.
you think
Yeah.
about it, cousins are also like your first real dynamic into friendships
That's
too.
true.
So that's how you learn to be a friend, I think, ultimately, because before you even start school, you're always around all your cousins, you know?
So
Yeah.
you're saying the spot's open.
And if
That is what I'm trying to get to here.
It's included, I mean.
I'm talking about the journals.
You nosy personality.
It's a Pisces to me.
I
I don't know.
know.
Is that part of Pisces?
Yes. But yeah, so we were super, super close. And even though there were fights, we always made up. Like, yeah, it was like a best friend relationship, I think. But I don't know, I guess. So there were times where I was hurt by her, and then I lashed out because I was hurt. And then it would be like, I would say things I didn't mean. I'll take responsibility for that. But we always talked about it. Like, we always sat down and had a conversation about it. I would tell her why I was upset. I always felt confident that we could sit down and resolve it and hear each other out, and it would make our relationship even better, even stronger. But then recently, this year in October, her birthday fell on a weekday. And typically, like, her birthday, she's one of those people, like, I put her above most other people. She always has been. So her birthday, like, I've traveled for her birthday. I've been traveling and I come home for one day for her birthday. Like, it's always been very important to me. And this year, I was traveling for 2 weeks. I came back for 1 week. I was going to be gone again the next week. So I told her, I'm free the weekend for your birthday. But on the weekday of her birthday, she texted me that day that she was going to be going out. Things happened. It ended up that I couldn't go that night. Didn't think it was a big deal. And then I went to sleep because I had work. I wake up at 4 a.m. to this long text from her mom telling me that I don't know what unconditional love is, and how dare I do this to her daughter? How dare I let her daughter down? Like, this long message coming at me, attacking me. So I was like, what does this have to do with you? So I just told her, I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know how I let her down, in quotations. And I was like, on it. And she had said something about my dad too. My dad's another one of those people that he's above almost everyone else. So you say something about my dad, like, that's it. I'm not going to speak to you anymore. So I was like, and for you to bring up my dad too, I don't need to hear anything from you anymore. So I told her mom. I was upset. And then I texted my cousin. And I was like, hey, I just got this text. What's going on? Heard nothing from her. And then I heard nothing from her for months. And that we had never not spoken that long. So, and I was just like, maybe she just needs to cool off. Like, I'll eventually find out what's wrong, I thought. But no, for months. And then like, she didn't even come. Her family didn't even come to Thanksgiving. So I was like, that was going to be an opportunity that I could feel it out. She didn't come. And then Christmas came, and her family showed up, didn't acknowledge me. Well, she did. My cousin did, but she just kind of gave a polite hello. And her brother never had any issue with him, so he said hi. But her parents did not even acknowledge me or my dad. So I was like, okay, this is serious. What is going on? And then, so yeah, I ended up reaching out to her, and she was like, I am willing to talk to you, just not right now. They're at Christmas. So then I gave it a couple days waiting for her to reach out. She didn't. So I reached out again, and I was like, hey, I'll make time. When are you available so we can talk? And then she's like, well, I'm out of town. I'll text you when I get back. And I'm thinking she's going to text me to meet up, right? But no, I ended up getting this long text from her basically telling me that, well, she starts off by saying the birthday wasn't the issue, right? But then she proceeds to talk about that for a good chunk of the message. And then basically telling me that me and my dad have consistently showed her that, have consistently let her down, have consistently showed her we're not there for her, and that we don't care. And I just, like, I literally thought I was going crazy reading this message because it's not true. Like, it just isn't. And especially my dad, like, he's loved her like his own. He's given her everything he possibly could. Like, anytime she needed help, anytime she needed anything. And me too. And it's not like I ever did that stuff for something in return, but I expected it to be recognized at least. And I just, like, I could not believe what I was reading. It was, and it was like, we went back and forth for a little bit, but I just could not change her perception of me. It's like she thought I was this terrible person who just didn't care. And she gave me examples of these situations that we've sat and talked through and that we've been good since. Like, those situations happened before we even went to Coachella. Like, went to Coachella together. We did all these things since then. Everything has been fine. But she brought up those situations. And then she brought up a hypothetical situation that something happened to her. And she's like, I just know if it came down to it, you wouldn't have been there for me. Like, it didn't even happen.
Yeah. They can't blame you for something that's going on in her head.
Yes.
Like, that's the thing. I feel like they need maybe a class on unconditional love, because I feel like it's like the opposite. You shouldn't even have to be reaching, in my opinion, reaching out so much. It should be like a mutual, like, wanting to collect together.
Or I feel like there's a lot of people maybe in her ear feeding her how she should feel.
Yeah.
And that's like altering, or maybe it's just a her problem, you know, like she's going through something deeper.
Do you think it's like a thing her mother has with your dad, and then because something happened with you two, like, oh no, even more, like I want to pile on the issue I have when it has nothing to do with you? Do you think maybe that has something?
Maybe. It's kind of crazy that you bring that up because her mom and my dad have always had issues.
Okay, yeah.
Like since I was little, I remember there was a period of time where they weren't speaking, so I couldn't see. Not that my dad would refuse, but I didn't even want to bring it up. So yeah, like they have always had problems, so maybe it's her in her ear. And it often is. I mean, she's the one who sent me the message, right? Her mom has sent a message like that to my dad for another situation.
That's why I'm like, were you gonna say something?
And I think as a mom, I like put myself like maybe in her mom's situation. Like, for example, like if something happens with Mia, like sometimes you get like very motherly and overprotective. And I think sometimes as moms, we could over exaggerate something. And we think the worst, and we think that we're protecting our children. You know what I mean? Sometimes, like, because I feel like I've been that type of person, but I feel like this was probably like old me, right? Like where I was just like very aggressive, and I would probably like call people out and probably like talk so much crap to them and be like that's what I'm saying. Like I could imagine that. Like I could imagine myself telling him like, no, I get why she's like that. Like her mom does this and that, so no wonder her daughter's like that. Like maybe sometimes things like that can go in their mind. But what I will say is like I know it's sad right now, but I think as she gets older and realizes, so if it is something like that, I feel like when she gets older and realizes, like she's gonna have so much regret. You know? And I think sometimes as people, we need to realize that we know what we were doing, you know, and we know that it was never in that light. And as long as you made that clear to her, she'll probably be able like to see that later on in life. And it just sucks because sometimes we lose time, and time is everything. Time is so valuable, you know, to us. And I especially feel like we know that, right?
Yeah.
Like how valuable and precious time is. And like it sucks that, you know, like they're not valuing that after you've apologized. And I don't think it was a big deal that you couldn't go. And I feel like if she loved you, she would understand that and knows like, oh, well, she's gonna celebrate with me on the weekend, like, you know. So
yeah, because I can't even imagine, like, I know we've had like disagreements or fights, but I can't imagine like just cutting one of you guys off. Like I can't like even fathom it in my head. But you know, I guess give her the time that she needs.
I feel like it's hard for me because like my hope is that maybe she'll see things a little bit more clearly, and she can still have her side of it, but at least be open to hearing another perspective. Like right now she's decided who I am and what my intentions are, but then I also think if it came down to that we got to sit down and have a conversation, I would have a hard time because now I know how she sees me and all these things.
I was about to ask that. Like, how do you, like, if you guys like get back together, do you think it's gonna be the same relationship?
I feel like it's not.
You never can take backwards.
Yeah. That's absolutely
That's
true.
why I feel like that's something I've learned, because I think anyone who's known me, especially you guys who have known me all my life, I'm sure you feel like I'm very different now than I was before. Like before, like I feel like if something happened, I feel like I would just like hurt you, like because I'm hurt, and I feel like I would just like bladder out like the most things that have make no sense and just like be mean. But then like you don't know how that hurts people, and like it could be things that they're already self-conscious about, you know, and it's shitty to like feel all these things about you, and then like your loved ones kind of also feel that. You know, when it shouldn't be that, when they should be the ones loving all the things you don't love about yourself, you know. So it's super hurtful, and you never can take that back. You know,
I do feel like you did the right thing. Like you reached out, even like you had to bite your tongue on some stuff just to say the words because you knew that's the right thing to do. And I do feel like her and her mom maybe are reacting instead of like having a like proactive conversation with you. Like they're being very defensive, and who knows what the mom is going through with her issues with your father. So at the end of the day, you did what you had to, and I don't think there's anything else you can do.
Yeah. And I had to really, like, I've talked this through so many times in therapy and, like, with both my parents, with my brothers, with you guys now, like, and I think I did everything I could. Like, I can't go back and change the fights we've had, but I can, and I learned so much from doing therapy, like being a therapist, that I've learned to take accountability for my actions and not be like, well, I said this because, or no, I made sure I took accountability for my side of it and how I felt. And I done that, and we resolved those things. And I told her even now, it was like, if those things are still an issue, like, I maintain my accountability. I maintain my apologies for that. There's nothing more I can do there. The hypothetical situation, I can't change that for you. Like, all I can say is that I've consistently put you before almost everyone in my life. And I have, and she doesn't feel that. She doesn't see that I can't make her. I don't know. So I have to remind myself I did everything I could. And the hypothetical situations, or some of the things that she's upset about, for me to have been there for her the way she wanted me to, I would have had to have abandoned myself. I would have had to have done stuff I wouldn't have been comfortable doing. Like, she was telling me, in this situation, if it were flipped, I would have done this and this and this for you. And it was basically like, I would have lied for you. I would have done things that could have jeopardized my career, could have jeopardized my dad.
I see.
That she would have wanted me to do. And when she said that, I was like, I wouldn't have done that for anybody. I wouldn't have done that for myself. Like, I said before, I've been working on boundaries, and I think that's just where it is.
Yeah. Sometimes some things happen for a reason, but I really hope that maybe you guys get to like a even ground where you're not just like avoiding each other at family get-togethers.
That'll be so uncomfortable.
Just a place of forgiveness. Like, hopefully you guys can just get there and just,
Move forward.
Recognize, you know what, we both probably said things, did things that hurt each other, but it's just like, but we loved each other. We had great memories. And hopefully we can just move on from that.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, it doesn't have to be the same, but at least be a family again, you know? Like,
Well, cheers to that. Hopefully it gets better.
you have a new best friend cousin right here.
Yeah, guys, I'm gonna hold auditions for maid of honor, godmother. I already assigned Alex's favorite cousin at the bar.
Sorry, guys. Sorry. I have it recorded, so
We'll allow it.
next topic we'll get with Steph, so we can go over her friendship breakup, I believe.
Yeah, so I guess, where do I begin? I feel like I'm not trying to be funny, but I'm just like, I cut off people left and right around here.
Let me get my notes.
Which one burned the most?
So exactly. So first off, I'll say that I am someone that overanalyzes myself a lot. Like, I feel like I will always blame myself for everything all the time. Like, even when people do like messed up things to me, like, I always would make it somehow my fault. And I think recently, over the past couple years, I know you guys know, probably, you know, from listening, obviously I've had a lot of major life changes. I went through like a very major relationship breakup, which we'll save that for next time. But I think at that point in my life, I was just realizing and loving myself so much more that I started realizing the BS around me. I started realizing how I go to bat for so many people, and how I put myself last in a lot of situations, right? First of all, as a mom, that kind of comes natural, right? Like, it's like, you're gonna take the bullet for your kids, like, you're not gonna save yourself, right? So I think that mentality is kind of how I've always been raised. Because, to be honest, I feel like my mom was that way. Like, you know, I feel like my mom never put herself first, right? My mom always put doing crazy things for so many people before anyone. And I think it was just natural for me to be the same way, right? It was natural for me to just be like, oh my God, I'm so tired, but this person needs this. I'm going to go, I'm going to do this. Or sometimes even jeopardizing my work because I'm going to go be there for people, or, you know. But I felt like things came full circle for me. So, you know, I started loving myself a lot more and started realizing pointless relationships. So I felt like, you know what, I don't have to put up with this, and I'm going to be okay. I was always scared. I feel like I was always a person that was very scared. like, oh my God, I need to answer, I need to call back, like I know I'm doing this and that, but they're gonna be mad at me, right? Like they're gonna be mad at me, they're not gonna be my friend anymore. And then sometimes I feel like I viewed what other people thought about me as truth. You know, like sometimes if someone was mad at me, I'm like, oh, it's because I'm a piece of shit. I don't do this, I don't do that. And then I will go on a whole spiral of things, you know, and I'll be crying. And then every little thing, it's like horrible, right? Like, and I don't know why I would do that. Like, I genuinely would always do that with people. Like, I was just so scared. And I don't know if I was so uncontent with myself that I felt like losing people around me would make me worthless, would make me be like nothing. Like, what do I have? I don't even have a friend. I don't even, like, people don't even want to be around me, like, you know?
So
but
you could give.
Exactly. So I felt like I had, like, a falling out, I guess, and it was probably nothing, you know? But I think it was kind of, things were just coming at me, and I was at such a major life change of, like, I'm moving on. I'm creating a whole new life for myself. And you know what? If I'm going alone, I'm going alone, you know? So I did have a falling out, like, with someone who was everything to me, you know? Like, I had a best friend who was my sister, 100%. I think since we were, like, 13, 14 years old, always with me. And this person had genuinely a relationship with my parents. I don't even have to be home, and she would be there with them, hanging out with them. And I actually think she has a relationship with all of you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, all of you have a relationship with her, right? And at that point in time, like, I think I was just kind of lost in figuring life out. That I don't feel like she really did anything horrible to me, but I feel like we just kind of had, like, a disagreement. And I was like, you know what? Like, I'm done. Like, I'm just so done. I'm not, I don't think I'm like, I know I'm a great person, right? And I know I'm loving and caring, and I'm like, you know what? I just didn't want to have that. Or maybe I was scared, like, I don't want to have to deal with that. Or I don't want to have to talk that out. Or I don't want to, like, maybe it was fear, or maybe it was, no, like, I'm going to just focus on the people that want to be around. And I stopped talking to her. I think I went like a long time, maybe even 2 years. Yeah. And this was someone who I just adored and loved, and, you know, and it was sad. Like, I think because for the first time in my life, I was alone, you know, before I had, you know, my partner at that time, where even though, like, I felt like it was just comfort, right? Like, it's because this, and of course, the kids would be like, it's because you don't need to put up with that. Like, of course, you can tell me what I want to hear, or, like, make me feel good about it. But I think for the first time in my life, I was genuinely alone with my thoughts.
I was gonna say, I feel like maybe both of you guys were going through, like, a change also, like, in your lives, and then it was just best to focus on yourself for a little bit. Especially, I know you were still in that relationship and trying to, like, get out of like, your actual relationship, so it was just easier to not have so much, like, in your ear. But
I also think, like, everything happens for a reason. So I feel like I'm someone that's never been alone in my life, right? And I feel like sometimes I take on so much to not deal with it. And I know it's sad, but, like, every time I'm alone, I just cry. Like, I don't even know why I'm crying, but anytime I would be alone, I would just be crying. And I think it's because that's, like, the first time, like, I'm having to deal with my shit. Like, I'm having to deal with my emotions, and I had a lot of, like, major life changes, you know, like losing my dad, losing my partner of 17 years, then losing my best friend of, like, oh my God, 15 plus years, right? Like, she was more in my life than my ex-partner, you know what I mean? So it's like, losing all of that just made me realize, and then I realized, like, oh, I'm okay.
I was gonna say, maybe sometimes you have to work on yourself so you can have a better, healthy friendship. Because then maybe if it would have, you would still had that person in your life those 2 years, like, it would have been like a toxic, like, relationship. I think something you have to work on, like, yourself. Both of you individually work on. It's kind of like a regular relationship, so that you can have a healthy friendship.
Exactly. So, and I think that is what makes for healthy relationships, right? Is you being so content with who you are, and you start attracting that. And I think at that point in time, I did need to be alone. Because at that point in time, I did need to have to feel my emotions, feel what I didn't like about myself, and realize I'm in charge of my happiness. I should never rely on someone ever to decide if I'm happy. You know what I mean? Like, I should be happy with what I want to do. I should be happy with what I look like, what I feel like. I shouldn't have to call someone to get validation or any of that. So I feel like I started working on myself a lot more, and being at peace with that. Like, it's okay if I'm alone. It's okay if I go tomorrow because I feel so good and in love with myself that I know. You know what I mean? So, and I feel like it was a trigger effect. So then I feel like I have a bunch of little relationships. Like, I always say, like, I don't call anyone my friend. Like, I feel like I have a lot of acquaintances. And then I just started, like, I feel like I just stopped talking to people, like, in general.
I was gonna say, I don't know if it's just from being, but even before I had kids, like, if someone got really close to me, I don't know what it was in my head that I'm like, oh, I did something wrong, I'm gonna push myself like away, and I would be like, before something gets worse, or like I didn't want confrontation,
Just to avoid it.
and I just don't know why, like, that's a thing. Like, relationships, like, I'm fine, I guess, committing, but like I don't know why, like, friendships was very, someone got really close to me, like a best friend, and then it kind of just, like, I put brakes because I thought I was doing something wrong, and I didn't want it to be like they broke up with me, or you know what I mean. And that's how
You ended it before they ended it with you.
Yeah.
You need to see someone, Alex.
So, and I feel like I'm the opposite. And then I think I got that a lot from my dad, because in my family, we have so many family friends.
Yeah.
Like, we had friends that always became family. Like, my dad was like that. Like, you know, his siblings were like that. So I felt like naturally, like, our friends always come over. Like, I know we both have friends that, like, come to all of our holidays and stuff like that, right? So for the first time in my life, I was, like, just alone. Like, and I feel like it was sad, but I felt like I had to go through it because I was never going to be good being on my own. And I feel like a lot of people don't know how to be on their own.
Yeah.
But it is possible. And you come out, like, so much better. And I did cut off a lot of relationships. I started realizing how people really weren't my friend. You know, they were really there because I'm always there for them.
Or it's
I'm a
convenient for
call,
them.
like, hey, can you help me pick up this person? Hey, can you come help me set this up? Or, hey, can you do this for a team and that for a team? Like, you know. So I started realizing, I'm like, you know what? Like, I'm like, and then I realized, wow, I don't call people, and literally no one calls me.
If you don't.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
then I realized,
It's a
like,
tough realization.
yeah. But then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start working on myself. I'm going to start motivating myself. And I did that through good thoughts to myself, right? I thought that through good thoughts to myself. I got through exercise, through eating well, you know, trying to read really a lot of self-help books, and realizing too, like, I think I wasn't close with, like, I think I lost relationship, like, with my sisters, with my mom. Not to say because it was all my decision, and not to say it was anything, just a lot of things in my life made me separate myself from a lot, because I felt like I said, I always felt like I don't want to be judged by others, and sometimes I feel like I would withhold what I'm going through, and so I feel like it made me keep everything in all the time, you know. But I think because of all that, I was able to mend the relationships that mattered a lot.
Yeah.
Like, with my mom, like, with my family, with my sisters, with my cousins. I feel like I'm more in tune with them and realize how much, like, I have greatness right there. You know, and I always tell my daughters that, I'm like, you guys need to be good to each other. Like, you guys are going to be each other's best friends. Like, forever.
I know, every time Arya and Eric, I mean, they're little. So, like, they fight. I'm like, just watch it, Arya, because you guys are going to be all you have, and it's going to be you two against the world, like, always. So just be nice to her.
It's a good foundation to build for them.
And it's such a blessing that sometimes I think we take for granted. Like, sometimes we don't realize, you know, and I know not everyone has that luxury, and I think we're very blessed that way. You know, I do know people that never can rely on the sibling.
Like, they don't have relationships with their
cannot at
siblings.
all,
Yeah.
you
I
know?
cannot imagine.
I know. It's,
You know, but it was good because I was able to work on myself and then come up even better from it. Like, I ended up getting confidence. I ended up, like, not relying on anyone, and, like, just building such a great life, being home. I was the type of person that could never even be home alone. Like, if I was home, like, if I had free time, like, I would not be home alone. I would go find something to do, or like I feel like that's how dependent I was on other people all the time.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
But you know, I think something great came out of it. I was able to work on myself and be a better person and realize my worth and my value. So we don't have to make it all, you know, super sad. I actually did reach out, you know, maybe 2 years later to that same best friend, and just like nothing happened. Like we didn't have to talk about it.
I was gonna say I love like how I saw you guys, and it's like you guys never left.
That shows yeah. That shows the depth of
and
that
I feel
relationship.
like my whole family like was so happy about it. 'Cause
I was working so hard behind the scenes.
I
Like
know.
for every little thing, I would ask you, like, have you talked to her? Well, maybe you should just reach out to her. Or like I even made up like a story. I'm like, I think she's sad and she doesn't want to talk to me about it. And then
You
I
made
think
that up?
I made
That's
that up.
literally why I reached out to her.
Well, aren't you glad?
Yeah, and even because I lived near her for a little bit, so when we would go have like outings and stuff, and she would go, it was I get she had so much like love for you. She's like, I just don't want to go. Like I feel like both of you guys, I don't want to go, and then they're not ready to talk to me or things. So I think that's what helped. Like it stopped a lot of it, but even thanks to that, like I actually started reaching out to like older friends that I didn't talk to in like forever, probably in like 11, 12 years since I graduated. So
It inspired you.
I'm having lunch with them this week.
oh, you are? Wow. Cheers
Nice.
to that.
Cheers.
Cheers to those forever friendships that you just can never go away, you know?
Just kidding. That's giving me a lot of hope, Steph, actually.
Yours is still very recent,
It's
so
very
there's some
fresh.
time.
Pour some in there.
But I am for real going through a breakup. I feel like I've been so
It's
depressed.
worse. It's worse.
That's because like, and then sometimes you see like a meme or something, and you're like, oh, I can't send it to
I
them
sent
because
everything to her, yeah.
Oh yeah, that is hard too.
Yeah, so I'm glad, and I feel like I'm like at such a different place now that it was perfect for us to pick up and just have like a more positive relationship, and because I did miss her, and I'm glad y'all still talk to her, because I feel like she's just that person that's always going to be in our family, and
I just
she's
got,
literally our sister.
I just got so tired of like both of you guys acting like I was your best friend, and I was like, I don't want this.
I don't want to hear
You guys need
this.
to talk again. All right.
All right, so we're gonna get with Vivian about her friendship breakup / makeup. They were on a break.
I don't feel like my story is like specific to like one time. Like this is something we do. Like she is my best friend. Even when we're like fighting, I don't say that's not my best friend. Like she's my best friend. Like we've known each other for like 18 years. We literally grew up together, but that's just something we do. And I think somewhere along the line, like some boundaries were set because of how many times it has happened. Or at least on my end, when you fight that many times, I feel like things change, you know, and I just couldn't like deal anymore with that same type of like relationship. Like I couldn't just be like, okay, we're friends now, let's go back to the way we were. Like I feel like every single time, like there's some space that gets between us.
There's damage.
And then I feel like it's not even a bad thing, you know? Like I feel like now we can be at a healthy place where this relationship was kind of like, oh, if you don't come with me today, that's it. Like I've had messages, long ass messages, like telling me off because I chose to go somewhere else instead.
Yeah.
And you know, and like that type of stuff is kind of hard, especially like with me. I pride myself, or I used to pride myself in having like a group of friends that we were all just best friends. Like all of us knew each other. We could go on group vacations and trips and things like that. And somewhere along the line, you know, different personalities get together, and I guess we grow up and we bring partners in the picture, and it doesn't end up working out as a group, you know? So it's hard. Like I feel like it's hard to have to like manage who you spend your time with when you know you can't bring them all together anymore. And
That's hard.
it has a strain on you. It's a strain because it's like, well, where do I want to do this? But who do I want to do it with more, you know? Or like there's a birthday. How do I tell her like oh we hang out every Saturday. How do I tell her, you know what, like I can't this time, or like every Halloween it's our thing, and it's like
Yeah, and it shouldn't feel that way. Like, how do I tell her this
No,
perfectly
that's-
normal thing is going to happen?
Yeah, that's
you
like
know?
my thing is like, how would you balance it? Like when you feel like get anxiety when you're like on two sides, like you're really close to these people and really close to these people, but they like have like an awkwardness when, so you're like, am I spending too much time here? Or am I spending too much time there? Like it's,
And
like,
then
how
it's-
do you even balance
and
that?
it's not even like the pressure I'm putting on myself. I feel like one of my friends puts that pressure on me too, you know? And it's like I'm already struggling with it, and then I do like I can't pick you every time, you know? Like I really value my other friendship as well, like, you know?
And it doesn't mean picking sides. It doesn't have to mean that.
It doesn't mean that, but like, oh, it's a birthday, I'm gonna go on the birthday, you know? Like that's a special occasion, like, and I wish you could come with me. Like sometimes I try to pull some strings and I just not working out, and it's not my place all the time to bring you with me, you know?
Yeah, I think that goes back to, like I said, like people pleasing. And then I feel like sometimes certain friends or even like family members sometimes feel like, you know, I don't like this person, I'm going to be uncomfortable. Like, why would you even have them there? And it's almost like putting you as like the villain, like putting you as like,
It's like pick one.
yeah, it's like you inviting the people you want. It's like, oh, it's because you don't like me and respect me. And it's like, no, how about you celebrate me and everyone shut the hell up and be focused on
And
the
that's
reason
why I
why we're
push
here.
away and I just celebrate myself.
You're just there.
But that's what I always wish
Go
for,
ahead,
because
Sam.
that is
Go
shit.
best friend.
Yeah, because that is shitty. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It is shitty. It's like you want everyone there. You want everyone to be able to have a good time and grand time, and then because, you know, put yourself in their shoes. Like if I know I wanted to be somewhere with you, and then like I didn't even get invited, then I'm thinking like, oh well, she didn't want me to be there with her, but in reality it was because so X, Y, and Z was gonna be there. You know, so it's a lose no matter what.
And I feel like what sucks is it's not even my, like, it wasn't even my problem. I'm not the one with the issue, but then I'm the one with the problem, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Because you're in between it.
Yeah.
They give it to you, Not like, I feel like if because they're your friend, you care, you're managing their feelings, right? Can they do that vice versa? Can they understand that that's difficult for you, and let me not give you a hard time? It should go both ways.
Yeah, no. But that's why, like, I guess this very last time I just put up boundaries on both ends, even though like one side didn't give me like guilt or anything like that. But like, I was like, you know what? Like at the end of the day, I have myself and my family, and that's who's gonna be with me till the end. You know, like yes, these friends, both of them have known the same amount of time. We've shared a lot of like memories together, and things happen. You know, shit happens, and I can't live my life worried or like torn in between, you know? It's gonna happen. There's gonna be occasions, there's gonna be holidays, there's gonna be birthdays where I just have to manage.
It's just not sustainable.
Manage.
But you know what? I think, but friendships are so important, because I feel like there's only so much, like, not that we don't tell each other everything, because I think after our sex episode, we're pretty wide open now. Just kidding.
Literally. Yeah, you are.
But like, I feel like, for example, I never talked like about like, oh, guys I like, or sex, or like the way you would with a friend. Like, I feel like I definitely would tell my sisters like a PG version, or even now I feel like I still don't really tell you guys like, oh,
You have sex?
Not if it's anal, I don't know. Anyways.
I don't think so.
You know what I mean? So sometimes you want to have those healthy friendships. So it's just, I think it all goes down to like, I think when you're good, like a lot of self-work, I think you just attract all that good. And not, and like Alyssa says, it's setting those boundaries. Like, you know that this person's not going to act this way with me anymore. So then they start acting like appropriate.
So have you guys like talked about it, or you guys just like reconcile, like no questions asked?
No, like the thing with her is like we don't talk it out. Like we hardly ever, or if we do, it'll be randomly one night, like it comes up. But like we didn't like, hey, let's talk before we're friends again, you know? Like I just unblocked her one day and then her message came. I knew her message was gonna come through, you know? Like I knew she was gonna reach out to me. but I just feel like it's crazy how when you set boundaries so much and then like you feel alone, you know,
Yeah.
but it's not even bad. Like you're like, oh,
Just have to adjust.
I don't have that thing anymore. Like,
My midday drinker.
yeah, for real. But I mean, it's not a bad thing, you know, like sometimes we have to grow and it's going to hurt and
Yeah.
that's growth, you know?
Yeah.
Growth is very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It is, and it should be. And I really love that both of your stories have like some resolution, because I think a lot of social media now is pushing that, like, you don't know anyone anything and boundaries, and that's also too extreme. Like, that's also another extreme. And I think I at some points have adopted that, like, I don't owe anyone anything, not with my close relationships, but with like acquaintances. But I like the idea that, yeah, you want to have when you look at your life, you think, I want all my relationships to be healthy. That doesn't mean you have to get rid of the ones that exist, but you probably have to now evaluate those, and maybe you can keep them, they just have to look different.
I think now, because I agree with you, I think now there's a difference between, like, F them and us against the world, like, not against the world, but just kind of like, like how you said, I don't know anyone anything, but there's a difference between that and then not taking a responsibility, and it's an easy cop-out to be like, F them and me versus me or whatever, but it's just like, no.
I think it's like in a healthier way. It's like, okay, I forgive like what you did, but it doesn't mean that I'm just going to like go back to that place again and all hail you again, even though you hurt me, because sometimes you can't forget like the hurt.
I think for me, it's I don't want any negativity around me.
Yeah.
So even if I have a friend who, when we get together, it's all negative, or they want to talk bad about somebody the whole time, like gossip and stuff, it's like not something I want.
Yeah.
And so it's easier for me to turn down those opportunities to get together, you know, because I'm like, it doesn't bring me like peace. And I don't want, like, even if like I'm fighting with somebody, I'm not mad, you know, like I just need to withdraw for a little bit for my own happiness. Like, I don't want no conflict. I don't want any negative vibes. I don't wish you any harm or anything bad to happen to you. But I need this peace and positive vibes in my corner, you know, and like if that means I have to let go, then I have to let go.
I feel like you can love people and literally not have to
Have a relationship.
like you can always love people. And I think even people that were never, that I like, let's say technically cut out of my life or aren't in my life as close as they were before, I still root for them. I still cheer for them, and I still will recognize like greatness that they have, and I want them to accomplish things. So there is a difference between, that's the healthy way to do it, versus like cutting someone off and then making a new friend and then make it all negative and talk shit about all the things of your relationship. Like, you know what I mean?
And then I read some meme like I know you have friendships that are from high school, but let's talk about the friendship you had when you were a mother, when you needed someone there for you, like when you're in this maturity. And that's what I like appreciate, like the friends I've met, like where I could talk to them about like the mom things. I mean, I could talk to you too about it too, but
Oh, I thought you were talking about me this time.
Oh, you too. Yeah, where you are now. And that's part of it too. Like, life happens, and friendships falling away is not necessarily a bad thing, or that anyone did anything wrong. I think those are hard to confront too, where you just feel a distance. That sucks.
Yeah, absolutely. Like when you're just at one point, I was just at a different time in my life, and maybe that's why I just like, not that I cut anyone off. It just, we just stopped talking. That's why I don't really have like a story about breakup with friendships. It's because we just kind of just mutually stopped talking to each other, and it wasn't like we still like, oh, you're so beautiful, like here like on Facebook,
no bad
and
blood.
stuff, but no bad, so that's why I'm like, well, let me talk to them again. But cheers to you reconciling, dude.
Cheers to me being
you.
happy.
Yeah, and I like
30,
to go
flirty, and thriving.
So true, girl.
So true, you're over 30, but
I wonder how I'm gonna feel when I turn 30, you know? Like,
Shut up. You're pushing 40.
you're over the hill now.
I didn't think I would cry in this episode.
Okay, there's a few drops left, so I'm gonna just distribute.
Yes.
And just be very
Yeah, champagne queen.
champagne showers. Or wait, champagne. What is that?
Champagne, am I right?
What is that song by Taylor Swift?
I don't know.
Wait, what is
Sham.
what is it called when someone urinates on you? Isn't it
Golden shower.
Oh, golden.
These look like golden showers
That's
to me.
disgusting.
I don't think I would let anyone
Champagne
hear.
Problems is what it's called, the song.
Really?
By Taylor Swift, you ever heard
God,
that?
I'm Taylor Swift fan. I'm like,
It's a newer
Look,
one, but it's a
how
good
does it
one.
go?
How many times in the conspiracy tape would we mention something about Taylor and we'd be like, Alex, what happened? And she's like, I didn't know that.
She's like
I don't know.
red.
Is that a song
red
by her?
album?
it's
Taylor
like
Swift.
Red and Before.
Yeah.
That's why I'm waiting for
Oh,
her
me
to
too.
go to tour with
Let's
those
get
songs.
tickets.
Yes, after pay.
Seriously, we're gonna have to get like 10 to bring everybody.
Aria wants to go.
Let's see. Oh,
Who's everybody?
She loves Taylor Swift.
Saida, you. Oh no,
Yeah.
sorry.
Just kidding. I do want to hear Enchanted. But no, not really. I
She
wouldn't pay
performed
to
for
see
6
it.
hours straight.
Oh, I could not do that.
But you go to Coachella.
Yeah,
for 2 days.
I don't like Taylor Swift.
You sleep there.
Hey,
hear
we
the music
have-
in your
that I
pillow.
love.
We have video proof that you're like,
That's-
you know what? Maybe I do like Taylor Swift.
Guarantee. If we all went to a Taylor Swift concert, Alyssa would be the one acting the most like.
She'd be on stage.
I would not be
She'd
screaming.
be like, yeah.
But I'd be singing it.
You go, girl.
She would.
She'd have all the friendship bracelets. Passing them out. Taking her bra.
Whoa, she ain't gonna wear a bra.
I know. That's what I was about to say. Like, Alyssa, don't even wear
Cheers.
one.
Why would I put one on for Taylor?
You made me go buy a bra. Poor Alyssa.
Just like constantly exposing me.
She has
Anyway.
titties, okay, not boobies.
No, she has boobies.
Oh,
You missed the conversation.
I did. All right, so I have a few questions for you guys. So, to Alyssa, how do I tell my friend I'm uncomfortable with them always talking negative, gossiping about things that are serious? I love them. I know they're a good person, but they gossip about domestic violence, and it gives me like an icky feeling.
I feel like that's very hard to answer. I am a people pleaser in recovery as well. So I feel like those are difficult. But also when it comes to like abuse, domestic violence, I'm very opinionated. I'm very strong-minded on those things. So I will just say it. But I don't think that's the best way to go about it. Like I have in the past been like, how dare you say that? And I'll like get up and walk out, or I'll get
see.
pissed off.
Okay.
Like very not controversial. Very Oh my god, what is the word?
Confrontation?
Confrontational.
Yeah. Yeah, with anybody. Like the closest person to me. My dad even. But not that he would make a joke about that, but I would probably
Like you're
react
saying,
the same.
it would be.
Because it's really important to me. But it sounds like this is like the
Like
terminology.
they joke around about
Yeah.
it, not like that they're making fun. Oh, I
Even
guess.
then, I remember one time someone super, super close to me said like something. It's like, oh, that's gay. And I was like, what do you mean by that? What are you trying to say?
It's awesome and amazing.
Yeah, and I like we went on this whole thing, and she even told me, she was like, "You're barely gay." I was like, "Excuse me, like
How dare you?
I'm still." And then somebody was there who was gay, and so I get very defensive. Like, and that was like a really, really close person to me. So I feel like maybe I need an answer to this question too. Like, how would you guys?
Maybe Steph.
To be honest, I feel like I make everything a joke. Like, for example, like if I was out with someone and I'd be like, no, like you're gonna put me on a downer. Like I don't want to hear this. Like, or like I would probably say something like joking, but then it does really bother me. You know what I mean? But then so maybe they'll get the hint. Like,
You know what? I was actually talking to Matt about this. He was like, when you're uncomfortable, you start to make like a bunch of jokes until you realize that you're just funny. And then you just start making jokes all the time. But he's like, when you would meet new people, like they would say something you didn't like, you would just like, you would pick on them the whole time and you would keep going at them until they got the hint. Like the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like that.
Yeah, like I'm gonna make you pay like all night for what you just said. I do that too.
Sorry guys, I'm a new person.
I feel like I would like redirect the conversation. Like I'd be like, yeah, and then like go like, oh, so what happened the other day? Like, you know, like just change the subject, and I feel like eventually they'll like catch on.
And like, I know this is like
That
a
makes
different
sense.
topic, but when like men bring up abortion stuff, I'm like, do you have a uterus? Because I don't remember seeing one.
Show me it.
Like, remember when you got your kids taken away?
Let's talk about that. You know, it happened with one of our relatives, I won't say who, saying something about like, I don't believe that women are really assaulted that or harassed that much.
Oh my god. Okay.
And then I was like, I was actually, because I love this person a lot. I don't know what it was, or I know this person tends to play devil's advocate and maybe doesn't have bad intentions. At that point, I was able to be like, you know what? That's not true. Like a very, that's not true. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you why, but like in a very lighthearted way.
Yeah.
Do you think they were just trying to get under your skin? Yeah,
And I think that's why, because I know that person says those things for that reason. So I think that's why I had them where like, not true. And like,
Take it back.
That's
you're
not
so
nice.
silly. Yeah. But if I know they don't but mean it that way, I guess. But then with close people, I know they don't mean it that way. I know they're just like, it's a slip of the tongue, but then I get so defensive. So then I don't know.
It's kind of feel like you can tell when someone's being genuine and they like legit feel that way, and then when they're just trying to like, because they know like if you're a
provoke.
huge advocate for like that kind of situation, they know like where to push your buttons on purpose.
True. Yeah.
Not very fun, but
I think it's just like everyone can have a difference of opinion, right? But I think it's like being able like to talk about it and like actually like feel like, okay, like I kind of see their point, or I kind of, and then like you guys can move on. But then I feel like sometimes like some people like can get like super passionate about it, and then it ends like in a flame, and it's like everyone like doesn't talk no more.
I just feel like there's some things you shouldn't even see. Like, not that you shouldn't see someone else's side on, but like domestic violence, like,
Or, like,
there's no
morals.
other side to that. Like, there's literally no other side.
Like when there are morals being compromised, and it's like, that's not an opinion. That's just
Like, what do you do? Like, you're saying
Inhumane,
this
you know? Like,
openly. What do you do behind door, like closed
Yeah.
doors? Like, that's my thing. But that, like, on certain situations.
But I like your guys' ideas of how to at least manage that interaction,
Yeah.
right? Not make it uncomfortable for everybody, because I think I've done that.
Not just shut down.
And then you ruin your own night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it was like a nice night, and it's just like,
you're like, why is everybody leaving?
You come back in. You actually brought me, so you have to take me home now.
It's like grandpa, he always cleared the room.
Yeah.
I love grandpas.
That's why you're a Garcona, Liz.
R.I.P. Mr. G.
Listen, now Alyssa's clearing the room.
Carrying on your legacy, Grandpa.
So, Vivian, how do I tell my friends they're too negative and pessimistic? How do you deal with negative-minded friends?
I think it depends on the friend and if you feel comfortable to have that conversation with them. But if that was me, I would probably avoid as much as possible, because you don't want that. If you don't want that around you, like, why would you put yourself in those situations, you know? But if you think it's a problem, you need to have that conversation. It has to be like where they know it's a serious talk we're gonna have, and be like, you know, just, I don't feel like the negativity is good for you.
Yeah.
Not just me, but like for your own life, you know? Like, why do you want to be thinking ill things about everything around you? Like, that's just your that'll be your whole perspective, you know? And
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard because sometimes I feel like sometimes people can be in such a dark, broken place that like when they're ready to accept it and grow and change, they're not going to listen to you, and then they get defensive about it, and they have 1,000 excuses as to, like, because I've had that happen to me, where I'm just like in a dark place, and then I'm just like, well, I can't get ahead because of X, Y, and Z, and they're like, okay, well, just do this to improve X, Y, and Z, and I'm like, no, like, I can't do that. Like, I'm just like, we'll go on and on.
You just want it to be a negative, like, you don't want an answer to make it better.
Just like, I didn't want a resolution. I want you to be negative
I
with
tell
me,
that
you
like
know?
to Nat. I remember I would like vent to him, and he's giving me like obviously
Solution.
something that's gonna make it better, and I'm like, no, just like agree with me.
And you know, sometimes people like want that, like, and sometimes it's okay and healthy to just vent and like, okay, like, you know, get it off your chest. I think just being able to talk to people like, okay, well, get that off your chest, and now let's talk about something positive. Or now let's like kind of redirect, you know?
I think it's like there's a line. Like if somebody is going through something and they're venting about what they're going through, that there's room for that in a friendship, right? But if it's consistent, or like let's say I'm like, ooh, this good thing happened to me, and they're like, well, probably this is probably going to happen and it's probably not going to work out. Or yeah, I was in a similar situation and it really sucked actually. So
like a
prepare
friend that
yourself.
can't be happy for you.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say who they can't like just be like, oh yeah, like,
Congrats.
that's awesome. They have to bring it to themselves like, well, that happened to me. It's not gonna work.
Or they want you down to their level. Like they
Yeah.
don't want you to succeed if they don't.
I
Yeah.
feel like friendships sometimes can be like that, like certain friends, and I think you have to recognize that, you know, and I think that's why it's important to have so much self-worth, because I think when you start loving yourself and when you start realizing, I think, and you start attracting the good, I think you just feel okay to let those friendships go. Mm-hmm.
Or like
yeah.
that can't bring you down, you know? Like
Yeah.
you'll be like, oh well, hopefully they can get better. And, you know?
But in the background, in the meantime, you reach out less, right? You make you make them less of a priority, and it affects friendships.
So, what have you found is the best way to make friends as an adult, Steph?
Humor. Duh.
Yeah.
Why don't I
Humor,
have that much
alcohol.
friends
I think for me, I think I'm just so talkative. Like I feel like I always find something relatable with everybody. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I think I have all kinds of friends. You know, like I'm all like high school.
I feel like I'm so popular.
I'm like the
I
popular
bet you
kids.
are.
I hang out with popular kids. I hang out with emos. I hang out with. I'm just kidding.
I don't know. I'm just so popular.
I know.
I feel like that's a Gemini thing, though.
Everybody just likes me. It's not hard.
Something's wrong with them when they don't like me.
Reevaluate your life.
That's like I know what they like, so I'll start to make conversation so that like it looks like I'm really interested. I don't know why.
Manipulative.
I guess
Just kidding.
Like,
No,
your son's
that's just
doing
caring.
in person.
Have you been able to visit him? Or like I'll put on like me and Matt will put on their music that they like so that they can feel comfortable like in our
That's
home
sweet.
and stuff.
So
So,
nice.
I'm manipulative. Okay?
No, I know. I was just kidding. That's really sweet, I think.
I think.
No,
No, I'm just joking.
I think the answer, like for me, would be like just be very genuine, or like let them know, hey, if you need anything, like I'm a call away, even if it's like an acquaintance. Just be like, I'm here if you need help with something, like you know, and then they can like eventually learn to trust you, and then like
It's like they're reaching out because I remember Matt's like, why don't you just reach out to them, or like I know you met them through like this person, but like if you have something in common, like just like reach out. And I feel like that's what I do now. I'm like, hey, like this meme's funny, huh? Or something. And then we'll just have like they'll vent to me about something. I'm like, oh, you see, it worked.
yeah, because like how nice does it feel for someone unexpectedly to just be like, hey, how you doing? You know, like you
Yeah.
want to like grab coffee or something, you know, like something like that.
Yeah, and adulthood it's like not in and of itself, but compared to probably our adolescence when it was so easy to keep friends. Like adulthood is lonely, and it feels good to make connections, like
Especially,
at work
like-
or wherever.
I've been working remotely for so long. Like I don't go to an office. Like I don't know. I just don't work, but I don't go anywhere.
Still not going to an office.
So still not going to office. So I don't make like people go. You
You
guys
don't
make
have
friends.
Yeah.
like the interactions.
In person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somehow
Yeah.
Steph made friends that way.
Well, Stephanie.
Steph.
I also feel like in addition to showing them you're there for them and reaching out, also just like celebrating their wins, you know,
Yeah.
with them, showing them genuinely, showing them like there's no envy, there's no competition, like
Yeah.
you're somebody who can be a friend.
And actually, that's what I'm gonna say is different from like high school, like friendships to now. Because I feel like in high school, you kind of be like, did you see what that person posted, or did you see this and that? Like, and,
Oh, she thinks she's better than me?
Yeah,
Well, I
exactly.
think I bonded with a lot of people from high school because I drank a lot, and it was like going out partying was our thing, but we didn't like go hang out like
Yeah.
to play soccer or something. And I didn't like we didn't have the same those kind of interest activities, but we had the same like let's
So you're
get
just,
effed
like, party
up.
girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shots. And I feel like for me, my love language is always helping people, and I make it so easy. Like they'll just be like, "Oh my god, I don't have time to do this," and then I'm like, "Okay, I'll go." That's it. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like I easily like someone be like, "Oh my god, can I have a ride?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Like, I
No,
feel like
yeah,
I
that's
make
me.
shit like that like so easy. Like I don't, and sometimes they don't realize all this shit. I'm like, "Oh my god, I can't do this, I can't do that now," and I just go do it. You know what I mean? Like, so.
For me, when I realize like it's a connection building is when I see something, I'm like, oh, they would love this. And I send it to them, and then I almost get like emotional. I'm like, oh, I love them. Like I thought they came to my mind right away. Like, that's my friend.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I also think it's like almost a people pleaser in me. I want everyone to like me, so I'm gonna show them like, oh, like she's cool.
I feel that.
Cool. I'm a cool mom.
I'm a cool mom, I promise. Alyssa, so as you guys get really old, have you found that you have a hard time maintaining your friendships, and what are some things you do that keeps your friendships intact?
Yeah, I feel like, so I didn't talk about this because it's like not, it doesn't weigh on me anymore or anything, but I had a 17-year friendship that I lost, and it was a lot of what we just talked about. Like, I didn't think she could celebrate my wins. Like, I would tell her, hey, I got this interview, and she'd be like, oh, and then she'd talk about whatever happened to her that week or whatever. That wasn't it, but I noticed that it wasn't growing with me, and I had anxiety to go see her, whereas my roommate, for example, she doesn't stay here anymore, right? We ended up getting a place together. I think with other friends, or the way I was in the past, if somebody stopped coming home, I would have been like, oh my god, like, what kind of friend is that? They're not there for me, whatever. But no, it's like she's living her life, and when every time she texts me, I make time for her. We go have dinner. Like, I tell her I'm gonna go shopping. Do you want to come? Or she texts me, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm putting clothes away, but you can come sit on my bed and like talk to me,
Fold with me.
yeah, help me. Yeah, so like, and it just feels so nice, and I just know she's there all the time. I'm gonna, like, she told me she wanted a gender reveal. I was like, let me throw it. Like, I want to be there for all the big moments now. It's the adult milestones, and I know that she'll make time for mine too. Like, she does. I just don't have the ones that she has. Like, I don't have as many, but I just, like, it feels so safe and comfortable, versus I feel like my friendships when I was younger felt like similar to what you guys were saying. Like, if I don't show up here, are they going to be upset? Or how are they going to take this thing I said? Whereas there's been times where I'm passive aggressive with her because I'm upset, and then she doesn't answer. But the thing about Monique is she does not answer her phone, like, ever. But if I feel like I was a little bit passive aggressive, now I'm like, she's not answering, oh my god, she's mad. So I'm like, hey, I was a little bit passive aggressive, are you upset? She's like, oh no, dude, I didn't know where my phone was, you're good. Like,
no, have you seen that meme? I forgot. It's like these two comedians, like, they're texting, but one of them is like reviewing the text in a negative way, and the other one's like, oh yeah, sure. Like, sure, what do you mean? Like, you're not sure? Like, and it's all like the two different it's funny.
But I feel like we read messages like
That's
the
what
way
I'm
a
saying.
person
Like,
is.
anytime, like, when are you gonna say K? And I'm like, are they mad at me?
Stephanie when
Like,
she
what
goes,
the
"K."
hell did they
If
do
I
to
put
me?
KAY, I'm good. If I put okay, I'm just like, whatever. I was like, that's all you say.
I've gotten a lot of okays from you.
So that's how I overthink too. Like, if like someone puts too many periods and like there's
that's
that, and I'm like, why?
But I don't mean it. I just
What are
put,
you thinking about?
I punctuate.
Yeah, every time I use punctuation with Diego, he's like, why are you using punctuation? Are you mad? I have never a day in my life been mad at Diego.
I
He
notice,
always thinks that.
when I use my speak to text, that's when it does like period. So then I think, oh, maybe that's what they're doing.
I just double space for the space or whatever, so that I automatically puts the period. So I'm just like,
periods are too serious.
people always tell me like, why are you using so many periods? Like, I just do. I don't even notice. Like,
Me too, yeah. Doesn't mean anything.
it's a sentence.
I will say, guys, though, when I say LOL, I'm mad. Like, I don't ever say LOL. I say haha. So I'm like,
I'm about to go
I don't
through
think
my
I ever have. I don't know. But if someone's like, tell me something that upsets me, I'll be like, LOL, okay.
I think if I'm upset, I just don't like
Respond.
That's probably better.
I don't have. Well, with Matt, like, I'll do. I'll be passive aggressive, but not with like. It's very rare, but I think
Just weekly.
just once a week. Steph, is there any friends that you miss, but you know if you hung out with them, you wouldn't enjoy your time with them?
No. But I know they all miss me, for sure. You know? Just kidding.
I hate Stephanie Club. Just kidding.
I hate Stephanie Club. No, just kidding.
just said the same thing.
You just repeated what it
No, but I feel like mine was funnier.
dot dot. Okay. We're all looking at
No, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't say that I miss them. I think sometimes I just miss moments. Like, I feel like there was a time in my life that I had like a lot of like female, I guess, acquaintances, and I feel like I would go have lunch with them or go grab drinks with them, and I feel like now I don't really have that at all. So I feel like I miss like those things. But then I feel like maybe I overthink it, or maybe I don't know if I overthink it, or if maybe they were kind of shitty. But like I feel like sometimes I'm like, yeah, like I feel like we only did that because I was always like, oh my god, let's go here, because I feel like when I stopped reaching out to them, like no one invited me to dinner or to have drinks or like, you know. So I was like, well, maybe they just did that to like be pleasing me, and they didn't really want that.
I think that's what I don't know why I just have this thing being left out. Like it really shuts me down. Like I don't know what, like growing up, like in high school, if I didn't get invited to a party or if I didn't get invited to like a get together, and I'm like, oh, I saw them out or something, I thought it was me. So then I would kind of separate myself from it.
Like sometimes I would get like that, like with certain like girlfriends that I thought were my friends. Like I feel like they would all hang out, and then like I wasn't invited. So I'm like, wow, like I know I'm not that forgetful.
I just feel like as you get older, like you go out less, or you start hanging out less with acquaintances or friends that weren't really like party friends or whatever, you know, like as you get older, they all find their place in their life, their spouses, and I feel like it ends.
But to be honest, I also look at it this way, and I try to look at it in a positive. I'm like, okay, what do I want to be doing? That's what I want to be doing, is going out and drinking and partying.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Where like I actually, like, I have a friend that I see every day at the gym. Or like, you know what I mean? Or like she'll be like, oh, let's talk about this business, like I want to see what you're into, or like, and I feel like those are the friendships like I totally appreciate more, and they're gonna do more for me. Like, what am I doing at a bar talking shit about someone?
Yeah.
Or what am I doing?
Don't get me wrong, I love doing that. That is my love language. But it's not all there is.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, for me, like in my growth and what I wanted to do, like I felt like I had been wasting like so much time in life. Like I'm like, what the hell did I even do in my life? You know, 'cause time flies like that. You know. So then I felt like I just started surrounding myself, and I hype everybody up. I hype women up. I hype men up. Like anytime I see anyone like going to the gym, or like I see that they've lost weight, or I see that they're happy, like I will like I don't even know them. Yeah, like I will like write to them and be like, well, keep up the great work. Like I see you hitting the gym, or like to men and women. Yeah. To make people feel good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like that's the kind of person I am now.
I think it's like when you stop caring what everyone thinks about you or what they're gonna say. Like that was my thing of what they're gonna react of when I say something, or if they're not gonna react, is it gonna hurt my feelings? Now I just do it, and I'm like, well, if they don't react, at least they know I'm coming from a good like place, and I'll just still do it anyways.
And actually, I feel like I got this from Vivi. I think one time like you had said this to me, and I think you even had said it like on your podcast. And it's like, why are you always so scared of like losing someone? Like what's gonna happen? Like
nothing.
What's gonna happen? Nothing. Like, you know, and I feel like I think a lot of people are so fearful of being alone, and so fearful of not having that friend anymore, when it's like literally we come into this world alone, we're gonna leave it alone. Like you, the person you want to work on is you. The person you want to be good with is you. You know?
Especially if you know you have good intentions, and you're not trying to hurt anybody. You're not being selfish, right? It's one thing if you're just hurting people left and right, and you're like, well, it's all right if I lose people, right? It's another thing if you did everything you can without bending over backwards and like neglecting yourself, and you lose someone. Well, then it had to happen.
Yeah. And they weren't your people.
So, Vivi, at what point does your partner become more important than your friends?
I just think it's the intent. Like, why are they more important? Like, is it because my partner said they themselves are more important? Or I genuinely want to do this instead, you know? Like, I do have a friend that constantly will be like, you don't come out like you used to with me anymore. And then I was with like a group, right? I was with a group, and this girl, she always comes at me like that. Like she always comes at me like, like negatively about being in a relationship, you know. And then my other friend who was with me in a relationship as well, she's like, well, maybe she just wants to stay home and like watch a movie with her partner, you know, like why is that bad? But it's true. It's like, it's not that they don't let me go out. Like, maybe I don't want to. Like, I'd rather, like, lay down and watch TikTok and relax and not have to, like, be hungover the next day or, like, all, like, regretting every decision. Like, you know? And sometimes it's just natural. Like, that's more important to me, you know?
Yeah. It's like they can't fathom the idea that you would make a decision yourself. That it
Or
has
just
to
because
be.
that's not what you want to do doesn't mean I want to do that, you know? Like, so.
But I think we just need to always accept growth in people. Like, I think sometimes we're so quick to blame someone else of why they're, like, not doing things different instead of just celebrating them.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, well, maybe Vivi does like just going to the movies, or she likes staying home. Like, maybe I should go visit her at home.
Or maybe we should go to the movies instead of like, hey, let's go to the bar. Like, oh no, let's go out to the movies or go to the mall or like just not in. It doesn't always have to be let's go get drunk. You know, I'm not really into that as much as I was before. You know, so.
Yeah, it's like, do you want to spend time with me and maintain your relationship with me, or do you just want me to do what you like to do?
Is this almost over? Because I gotta go to the bar to watch the game.
I need to regret my decisions tomorrow.
Except Sundays, of course.
Yeah, it's football. Come on.
Yeah, no, I feel that sometimes, like when I met my husband now, I kind of put my drinking aside, like at a point, because he had broken his leg and he couldn't really go out, and I didn't want him to have to feel like he couldn't come along, so I would just stay like with him and watch movies. Also, like, I had friends who were still close to my ex, like really close, and I never wanted it to be like a bad,
like an awkward thing,
situation. And that was because I just met him. Like, I already have these relationship with these friends. I thought they would, like, you know, understand that, like, I'm trying to, like, I just met this guy, I want to build this relationship, I really, really like him, and I don't know, not that I put him first or anything. I just was trying to. I didn't have a really good relationship yet with him, so I was like.
You know what I will say about your relationship? I mean, this is just off topic, but I do feel like Matt has brought out, like, a lot of good in you.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like you're always so shy, and, like, now, like, you would never go out and be dancing or something, you know?
No,
and I feel like now it's like you're that couple that everyone looks at that's just being all crazy on the dance floor.
I do love it because I used to be very about, like, so much what people think, and I'm trying to get away from it, but he would just bring out this, and even in the like, I know, like, I can depend on him for, like, everything. He'll do, if I wanted, like, he'll do every single thing for me, but then he made it to a point where, like, here, let me show you, you could do this, like, or you can, like
he believes in you more than you believe in yourself.
Like,
and
he motivated me to be better, be more independent, like, not have to, like, depend on him, like, not like that, but he just brought out this part of me that I never, like, I always wanted to be this. He made me the person I always wanted to be. And it's just, it's just amazing.
One day.
Cries and single.
Cries and single.
I didn't even think I wanted a relationship.
Now I do.
You never know.
It's just the relationship. Right person.
The relationship will choose you.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Definitely. Thank you, Best Buy.
Otherwise, I'm just kidding. Boo, Best Buy.
Melissa, how do you cope after losing a long-time friendship?
So I'm figuring that out right now. I talk about it a lot. I cry a lot. I think I reminisce a lot. I mean, it's like losing a romantic relationship. You gotta have your grieving period, and that's okay. It doesn't mean you get stuck in it, right? You gotta allow yourself the times for grieving and the times for still going on with your life in a healthy way, and recognize it is grieving. It is as much of a loss as a romantic relationship is, so don't minimize it. Let yourself feel it, I think, is very important.
Like, it's okay. Like, it hurts. It does, because, like, it's little things, like, oh, I was gonna send this meme. Oh my god, so I sent it to my sisters, you know, but it's little things like that, but you're like, it's okay. You gotta be strong for the bigger picture, you know what I mean? Like, where are you gonna be at the end of the day if you just go back to letting things slide, you know, that you don't personally think is good for yourself, but you're like, oh, that's just how she is, you know, like, no, like, it doesn't have to be that way.
But that's what sucks when they like say, "Oh, that's just her personality," or
That's
to
just how
be
she
mean.
is.
Like, that's not okay. Like,
so never mind. It doesn't hurt anymore.
I think
Right,
one thing
yeah.
I did that helped me a lot is I stopped reading into things and reading into friendships.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, if I want to send something to someone, I'm going to freaking send it. If they don't want to talk to me and text me, then okay, then that's on them. Like, I feel like because I feel like sometimes, like, people put up defense mechanisms, and sometimes people feel like, well, I'm going to call them out on their shit because I'm not going to just be staying quiet, or they treat me like this, so I'm definitely not going to be treating them. I'm going to treat them the exact same way.
Yeah.
Right? I know I always joke around. I'm like, how do you know I'm not someone's karma? I always say that, but I'm like, I don't really mean that. But I feel like it's like, no, like, you never should change who you are as a person because of others.
You know, and I feel like in high school I had these really good friends. I thought were really good friends, and one time they got like an offender bender, and I accidentally, like, because I just put LOL for everything, but I was like, oh, LOL, like, are you guys okay? Like, and they stopped, like, literally talking to me, and they, like, we were in the same classes. They would talk, like, behind my back while they were like, I could hear them right behind me, and I'm like, I wasn't, like, really laughing. It was just like a
response,
like a thing that I wanted to make sure you guys were okay. And I think since then, like, not anymore, but I would think like, oh, am I texting this wrong? Like, should I not send it? And then I just stopped responding because I'm like, oh no, because then they're gonna get mad that I'm sending a text like this. And even it was just one thing, but then I came to the realization, like, maybe they just weren't really my good friend. They just were trying to find something to stop, like, interacting with me.
That, like, they didn't give you the benefit of the doubt or even leave room for understanding or explanation. Like, that's the problem there.
Yeah, and I feel like those aren't the people you want. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like you want people that are gonna go to bat for you, and you want people that, like, no, like, they've been here for me at this point in my life, this point, I love hanging out with them, like, you know what I mean? Like, because I've had friendships like that where it's like freaking on edge, like, you know, it's like, oh my god, I said this.
or like, if you're gonna get mad over text, like, seriously, like, you know,
I know, and like, I didn't mean it. Like, I was still like there for them. Like, oh my god,
they
like,
assigned meaning to it. And I feel like that's something I had to do too. Is that's what my cousin did, right? She assigned meaning to all these things that wasn't true, and I couldn't do it myself. Like, I was being very hard on myself. I was like, maybe I was very selfish. Maybe I should have done this. Like, it didn't occur to me, but maybe she's right. I should have done that. So I talked to my therapist, right, and then I have my good friends who are also therapists, and like, I know that they're like, in the past I've come to them with things and they've told me, well, maybe you could have handled that differently. So I'm like, I know they're going to be honest with me, and them too. I just needed to hear from people. I knew I needed to hear from people that I did everything I could and I didn't do anything wrong.
And I think that was my, like, I stopped telling people about my problems, and then I would just keep it to myself. And then one time, like, I would take it on my partner, and they're like, stop holding it in, like, just tell, like, say it how it is. Like, there's nothing, like, you're telling, there's nothing you can say or do that I'm just gonna be like, oh, I'm leaving, like, you know what I mean? So,
Well, like,
I'm getting better.
Just kidding.
Well, yeah.
Just kidding. Yeah, but I think just staying true to you always, like.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we were in high school, so, like, I have no ill, like, thing to them because we were in high school and we were not mature.
Yeah, you were
yet.
kids.
Like, so that's what I always go
it's
back
silly, really.
You're right.
Silly girls.
You know what's so crazy? Like, this is how blind I could be to, like, friends. I literally had a friend in high school who literally stole, like, thousands of dollars from my dad. And no, for reals.
Yeah.
So she was like a klepto. And I still would be defending her and all this stuff. Like, and there was multiple things. So there was that. And then there was this one time, like, my friend, Kristen, like, she's like, Stephanie, can you please watch my purse or whatever? But then I feel like I was all in love with my boyfriend. So I was just, like, all googly eyes or whatever. And then she comes back. She's like, where's my purse? I'm like, oh, shit. Like, it went missing. And then the first person we thought of, because we had kind of already that. So we ran to the class, and she was literally, like, scavenging through it. And then,
That
like,
is sad.
and then, like,
I still remember where she lives, actually.
yeah.
That's the one that, like, drugged herself.
Yeah,
Tell the police where she lives.
And then like I had this like cute necklace that my boyfriend had got me. When she hugged me, she like took it off.
Oh my god.
Like that's how much of a clip.
So she had
was.
a like literal clinical problem.
For sure. And then like we kind of were discovering it, and then I had this teacher who first of all was my dad's friend. So he got a call, and the teacher straight up told me, he's like, hey Stephanie, which the teacher shouldn't do this, but this is just how much loyalty he has to my dad. He was like, hey Stephanie, just to let you know, the security's gonna come right now and search you. And he's like, do you want to leave your stuff in my closet? Like, he literally was over here, like, for reals. Like, that's how close he was. And I'm like, oh my god, what does this guy think of me that he thinks I am? So like, you know. But anyways, but I was like, no, like, what the hell? Like, okay, so then they come, and there was drugs in my purse.
What?
Yeah, so then but like at that moment, that was when I kind of realized, like, and then like I had told them, they're like, I'm like, I swear to you, they're not mine, like, you know. And then they're like, well, who would do this? And I said her name. And then they just kind of were acting weird, and then I found out because my mom told me, they're like, it's because the person who turned you in is the person who had your stuff. So in reality, that girl had planted stuff in my bag, and then like went and told like the principal. I don't know.
Is that when you got sent to the alternative school?
No.
Oh.
This would have been another time. And then that happened, and I still would be friends with her. Like, I still would be like all nice, and then I feel like my friend like Kristen like threatened her. Like, I feel like all my friends were more like, don't be doing that to Stephanie, like, and they threatened her, and then we just never saw her again.
That's crazy.
Wow.
It was wild.
Damn.
Like, but that's how loyal I am. I'm just like, no, like, make it
Give them the benefit of the doubt still.
Like, and I actually did, like, and I feel like my mom didn't even make a big deal about the money. And like, now that I think, like, now that I had a conversation with my mom, she's like, yeah, like, she literally took all the money for us to spend on you on Christmas. Like, and I feel like my parents we never knew like any money struggles. Like, they always gave us everything.
Even though there was, that's why I always say that, even though there was like obviously struggles, like we never knew it.
Yeah.
Of it.
Mm-mm.
Like, even at that
Till we
moment,
got older.
like, I feel like I don't even think I'd be that kind of mom. Like, I feel like me
I'll be
knows
straight
everything.
up. No, we
Yeah.
have no money for that.
Yeah, and I feel like my mom was never like that.
Yeah.
Thea asking for a job.
I know, my Thea. So cute.
I'm just kidding. The last one is I'm married. I have a full-time job and I have kids. I don't have time to always be texting, but my friends get their feelings hurt. How do I explain to them I still want to be there for them, but I have other things going on?
You don't have to explain it.
You
That's
don't.
how I feel. Like, why do you have to explain that? I feel like they're not a good friend to you. Like,
They
I
should
think instead of you feeling like you need to text it, I feel like they should just like, I miss you, like, I want to see you, make time for me, or like, you know, and not be like, why aren't you texting my back? Like,
I think it's very immature to expect that from a grown ass adult, you know? Like, we're not like in school bored, you know, like having all the time in the world. Like, life is busy with and without kids. Like, I feel like I never have a moment, like, you know?
Same.
But I think also it also could go both ways. You know what I mean? Because I think I do understand like how I could maybe get hurt by someone who like never texts me, or I can get hurt. Like,
I see that.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it could also be the other way too.
Or you're always texting first and never like getting invited somewhere, but you're always inviting them and they don't show up.
Yeah. So I think also make that effort, like, as a friend too. Like, always remember, like, because sometimes I'll do that. Like, sometimes I really don't have time, or maybe I don't utilize my time, because I always have this saying too, like, people make time for the things they want.
Yeah.
Like, 100%.
It's funny, I always tell Matt, because you know how you guys, he'll text you. I'm like, you have to just make sure she's paying attention first before you tell her something, because she's gonna go over
Yeah.
her head. It's her Gemini personality.
I think that too with my cousin, right? There were 3 years in a row she didn't come. Either she didn't come to my birthday, or she showed up like briefly. She showed her face, and then her boyfriend wanted to leave, or she had something else to do, or she just didn't show up at all. Right? And I would, because this is the reason, right? This all started on when I couldn't show up. But I remember all those times I was hurt, and my thought wasn't like, oh, she doesn't care about me, oh, this and this that. No, I texted her. I was like, hey, it hurt my feelings that you didn't show up. Like, why couldn't, like, I always make an effort for yours, so it hurt my feelings, and I wanted to talk about it. And I never said you don't care and you're selfish or all these other. No, I was just like, hey, this hurt my feelings, and I want to talk about it. And I feel like that's that's okay. Like, people can miss you and maybe say like, hey, I really wish you had shown up for this, but it doesn't have to be like, oh, so you're not going to show up, fine, I'm not going to talk to you anymore.
It can be a conversation instead of like, oh, you just don't like me or you don't have time for me. Be like, hey, this hurts me that you don't respond. And then see what they say. Like, oh, I'm just like all over the place. Like, like I imagine Stephanie this way. Like, she's just like, oh, Stephanie has like 53 unopened text message, you know. It's like, oh, must have gotten lost there, you know. Like, and that's genuine Stephanie. It's not like I'm ignoring you, you know.
And you know her, and you want to keep an open mind because you love the person, right? Then they deserve the benefit of the doubt. You would think some people would give you the benefit of the doubt.
It goes both ways. Like, I feel like if you have people you love and friendships you love, like, go out of your way sometimes, you know. Like, even like sometimes I'm like, oh my god, I'm so busy today, but I love you, I'm thinking about you, have a great day. Or sometimes at my end of my day, I'm like, oh my god, I had like all these missed calls and I feel bad. And like sometimes I'm like, I'm not ignoring you, like today was crazy, I love you.
It honestly depends when you text me. Like, sometimes like, oh, I'm not ready to respond to this yet. I need to sit down and look it over and respond to you. And then I'm like, oh shoot, I opened the message, so now I don't know that there's a message there. And so I even asked her, how do you unread a message? I wasn't ready to respond yet, and I forgot to respond to her until like 2 days later. I'm like, I'm so sorry.
I know.
Like,
I think it's just being kind to people, because you really don't ever know what they're going through, so don't give people such a hard time. I feel like if you love them, just know how to just like try to understand more, and you know, like, know that they also love you.
Reach out and have a conversation, like clear it up, you know.
And a conversation is not, you did this and this and this because you don't care, and I have felt this way, and blah 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 blah, and leaves no room for understanding.
I remember in high school, I was not in the best relationship, but I would have to text him back like within 2 minutes, or he would go calling me like crazy. So like if I was I couldn't take naps. Like if I was asleep, it was like very. And now I think about it, and I'm just like, maybe that's why I respond sometimes to people so quick. Until before I had kids, and I'm like, no, like they understand. Like I'm busy. Like I do. I work.
For sure.
It's crazy.
Yeah, but that stuff stays with you. It's traumatic.
I know. I remember when I first met Mac, he was always doing something. He wouldn't text. I'm like, hey, maybe he doesn't like me as much as I thought. But really, it's because he was always freaking busy, and I just had it in my mind, like, oh, like I'm responding right away. Like, why?
Like, it's okay not to be glued to your phone.
Yeah. And now I'm just like, oh, you called me? Sorry. But I think next we should just get some takeaways about this episode and what you want to share.
I just feel like at the end of the day, you have to do what's best for you. It might hurt some feelings, but what's more important? How you make somebody else feel, or how you make yourself feel? You know, like if you have to end friendships for a more positive thing in your life, then do it. Like it's easy. It's black and white, really. Like what's best for you. You know, it's okay to end a long-term relationship or friendship if you're gonna come out on top. You know.
And it's okay to hurt about it. It's gonna hurt. It doesn't mean it's the wrong decision, and it's not selfish to prioritize yourself. There's a difference. It's important to prioritize.
2024 is a year of self-care.
It's the year for you. This is your year. This is your year. This is your year, Stephanie. This is your year.
Let's do a thumbnail of all the Spider-Mans.
Still holding that glass, no champagne.
Still not touching the table.
She was a robot. How do you feel, Steph?
Bitter, she malfunctioned.
I think for me, I feel like it just goes back to like kindness for me. I think it's being kind to you, knowing your worth always. I think, especially for women, I think we have a lot of pressure, and I think we're raised to always people please, or don't wear provocative clothes because something might happen to you, or don't, like, you want to be like kind of, I feel like the Barbie movie is like just so like perfect. Like who cried at the monologue?
Aria too.
Yeah, like I feel like, but it's so true. It's like you have to be a good friend, but you can't be overly competitive, or you can't do better than them, or it's like all these rules that we always had to follow and that we were raised. And I feel like we need to break those. You know what I mean?
And we need a break.
Yeah, and I feel like it's exhausting. Like, it really is exhausting to like tie yourself in knots and bend over backwards and do all these things for to satisfy everyone, and then at the end of the day, like, you're still not good. You know?
It's like, be fit, work a full-time job, but you know what, you have to be there for your kids. You have to cook dinner, you have to make your husband, like, spend time with your husband,
Be
have
assertive.
a sex life.
Don't be a bitch. You know, it's like
it's just
It's exhausting,
so
and I
much.
think we need to put in as much as we give to others. And I had a friend that told me that, and I felt like she was so right. You know, I was like, yeah, like, what I do for others, I don't even do for myself. Like,
Nah,
but I had no
that's
problem doing it. I had no problem doing it, but like, me making time for myself, like, I feel like I was such a hypocrite. Like, I would help them get everything done, but I wouldn't do that shit for
or
myself.
you would tell them, like, don't take that, like, you do
And then
for
I
you,
take it
but
all
you
the time.
wouldn't. Yeah,
Exactly. So I think being good to yourself, being kind to yourself, you know, always have positive affirmations. And like, I know a lot of people think like, oh my god, that's so stupid, but no, it's not. Like, I feel like the more positive you put in your mind, the more you're putting out there.
becomes a reality.
I actually remember one of my coworkers, I was applying for a job at Best Buy, and it was like a leadership job. He's like, do me a favor, go into the mirror and say 10 like awesome things about you. And I'm like, that's so dumb, but like, I did it and I got the job, like, even though I was like not even qualified to do. I was like 18 years old, like, and I remember
you start
him,
to believe these
and I still talk
things,
to
yeah.
him, and it's like, it's awesome. Like, that was like the best advice like I had ever gotten.
It makes a difference
Be
when
nice
you speak
to
to
you.
yourself.
Yeah.
No, it's just like, I'm going for great positive things, and you can either come with me or you can stay back there behind, you know.
Sometimes if you're trying to save everyone, you lose yourself 100%. So I think it's just, like I said, just being positive to yourself, knowing exactly what your goals are, and not settling for anything less than that.
Yeah.
You know?
And I also think something that I'm taking away is that relationships, when they happen and when they end, nothing gets undone. Like, everything that happened in that relationship still exists. Like, I still think my cousin knows me better than anybody, and I still think I know her very well. She might not think that, but I think I still know her as well as I ever have. I still love her as much as I ever have. And so, like, I'm deciding to set boundaries. I'm deciding I'm more important, but that doesn't mean I believe she's a bad person, or I believe that the relationship was a lie. None of that. I just, things happen.
That's growth.
Yeah, I think what I'm like, from just all your stories taking away, like, don't be sorry for what you did, like, when it's for yourself. Like, we're all maturing, and maybe we're all maturing in a different way. And those friendships, if they were meant to be, they're still gonna be there 2 years later, 10 years later down the road. They're still gonna, if they really were like a really good friend and cousin, family relationship.
And there you have it.
Tune in to, if you guys had any advice about relationship, we have our part 2 with Valerie coming back.
Yes. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at the Prima Tapes, as well as TikTok at the Prima Tapes, and then our YouTube channel. Our videos are usually posted every week as well. That one's also at the Prima Tapes _
Has an underscore.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only one that's different.
Thank you all so much.
Ta-ta.
So much fun. So.
It's tough for now. Go Chiefs.
Yeah.
All right.
Is that a nervous?
I don't know.
She was just like, oh, this is good. Oh, this is really good. More of that.
Oh my god. run the tape back.
Boundaries, and with that time, the boundaries, I think, automatically get set. Like, where you come back. Are you watching?
Yes. This is your stuff.
You did it like 10 times.
Like the brother from Everyone Loves Raymond with it.
I was like, no way she's gonna do it again.
Oh, this. Oh, that's good.
God damn it, that elimination. Do that constantly.
You see why I'm not putting my cup down?
She's like, do that constantly. turns around, accidentally touches her boob, and then she starts singing. She's like, "He just touched my boobie accidentally.
Is it Phoebe?
He just touched my boob."
I'm pessimistic. Who do you want me to?
You choose.
Okay.
You're
All
the
right.
director.
All right, Vivian. Not because you're pessimistic.
You literally just said this. You don't want negativity
I
around.
don't want
That's why I
negativity
wanna
around,
ask
so I'm
you.
getting rid of it right now. Hey.
All right, ready?
Yes.
Okay.
If anybody wants more, you need to ask me.
Masturbator.
Or you today, they don't call me Handy Annie.
I don't know why I missed that. It's because I was putting everything together while Steph was holding the cord.
Like, whoa. Miss Valerie, a little handy. Oh, what did she call it?
Little BJ. A nudie.
She's like Kendall. Have you seen that? Oh, you guys don't probably watch the Kardashians.
It's about the
But
tits.
Ken's about titties and like she's like, Kendall has boobies. I have titties.
Kylie says it.
It's just kind of like, you don't say that to girls with like, you don't say tits to girls with no boobs.
No boobies. You don't say no. Is
Yeah,
it-
you don't say tits to like girls that are flat chested because they're like, oh, those are tits, like huge. She's like Kendall, she has boobies.
Yeah.
I got tits.
Yeah.
Oh, God.